From gravity-defying giga-coasters to modern-day multi-launch masterpieces, Spain has some of the best roller coasters in Europe, if not the world. So sit down, strap in, and don't miss a second as we go through these amazing scream machines. I'm Rollercoaster David, and these are the top 10 roller coasters in Spain. Number 10, Stampeda at Portaventura. Stampeda is one of only 3 wooden roller coasters currently operating in Spain, and it's undoubtedly the best one. This is a racing coaster where the red train faces off against the blue as they chase each other around the track. The layout has an interesting twist however, as at one point both trains dive off in different directions, only to return moments later, this time facing each other head to head. It's a unique twist on a racing coaster, and I can't think of any other coaster worldwide that pulls the same trick. This ride has also been improved in recent years with extensive retracking and reprofiling of some sections, although you still need to have a bit of tolerance for wooden roughness to enjoy the ride properly. There's some fierce laterals to experience though, and some welcome pops of airtime as you race, which makes this a fun and impressive ride. Number 9, Tornado at Parque de Atracciones, Madrid. This coaster type is really quite rare and well worthy of a place on this list. Tornado is one of only 2 Intamin suspended looping coasters that have a traditional lift hill, which makes it rather interesting. Its layout is more akin to a B&M invert, going through several vertical loops and a corkscrew with a few overbanks and helixes along the way, but the long train means that you experience quite different forces whether you sit near the front or the back. It's a smoother ride than a lot of similar Vekoma roller coasters, although it's much less refined than the usual offerings you get from B&M. It's a one-of-a-kind layout though, so well worth checking out if you're ever in the area. Number 8, Furius Baco at Portaventura. With a launch from 0 to nearly 84 miles an hour in just 3 seconds, Furius Baco certainly packs a punch. Unfortunately, if you're in one of the wing seats, that punch is accompanied by a very rough and shaky ride. The inside seats towards the front aren't half bad, but if you're on the outside near the back, be prepared to be shaken to pieces on this ride. There's still some features to love on Baco though. The launch is unlike any other, as it actually goes into a small dip after you hit the top speed, giving a surprising pop of airtime. Personally, I find the inversion on the ride a bit slow and uncomfortable, but I know some people like it, and the sheer intensity of the ride cannot be denied. It also makes an impressive visual element as the unique train flies over the lake at the front of the park, and if you've ever visited Portaventura, I can pretty much guarantee you've taken a photo of it. Number 7, Shadows of Arkham at Parque Warner Madrid. B&M Batman inverted coasters are pretty common in the United States, but this is actually the only one in Europe, and if I'm being honest, it's probably better themed than any of the American versions of the ride. Shadows of Arkham has an awesome queue line, but the ride itself is fantastic too. It's got a great combination of speed, inversions and strong G-forces that make this layout the fantastic success that it has been. This version runs satisfyingly quickly, and is just as good as most of the American ones. Whilst I would always have preferred a park to go for a custom layout, the Batman inverted coaster is tried and tested and you can't really go wrong with it. It's a great coaster no matter where it's located. Number 6, Stunt Fall at Parque Warner Madrid. Stunt Fall is a giant inverted boomerang, which is another off-the-shelf model of roller coaster, but seeing as there's only 4 of these operating worldwide and they're pretty spread out, it may as well be unique in the region. It may also be one of the scariest roller coasters you're likely to experience, and features some unique thrilling sensations. You start by being dragged up a vertical spike before free-falling through the layout consisting of a cobra roll and vertical loop, all before you're taken up another spike and dropped backwards to experience the layout in reverse. The vertical drops in this really are something else, only being comparable to drop towers, and the sheer sense of speed you get as you blast through the ride structure is hard to beat. Add to that the anticipation you get before each vertical drop, and this is a roller coaster that may even be too extreme for a lot of people. I like extreme coasters though, which is why this one earns a respectable 6th place on my list. Number 5, Dragon Khan at Portaventura. When Dragon Khan first opened, it became the first ever roller coaster to feature 8 inversions and had the tallest vertical loop in the world. This is a proper old school B&M coaster, and what it may lack in airtime, it makes up for in raw intensity and strong positive G-forces as you tear around the inversions on its layout. Nowadays it's approaching its 30th anniversary, and as such it's maybe getting a bit rough in places, but it still has a fury and aggression that modern B&M rides seem to be missing. The roar of the trains as they tear around the track is just as awesome as the visual of this coaster, spread out across the Chinese section of the park, and this remains a headline attraction for the park, even today. The Zero G roll is a real highlight for me, as it's taken so quickly you get more negative G than weightlessness. This ride is simply all about intensity, and its pacing is really tough to beat. It was actually a close call between this and the ride above it, which is number 4, Superman La Tracción de Acero at Parque Warner Madrid. Superman, or Ride of Steel after it's translated, is a flawless B&M coaster with a layout that I absolutely love. Unlike most B&M sit-down coasters, this one actually has airtime hills, which you never see on this kind of coaster. It also has an old school pre-drop section, which means that in the back row, you get some completely insane air on the first drop. It's well paced, and the Zero G roll actually does what it was designed to do, give you Zero G floatiness all the way through. It may not be as aggressive as Dragon can, but its floaty inversions, awesome airtime hills, and everything else make for an overall better ride. It may even be my favourite B&M flawless coaster in the world, as none of the others I've been on have the airtime or powerful drop that this one does. Number 3, Red Force at Ferrari Land. Red Force is the tallest and fastest roller coaster in Europe, and so it's undeniably impressive. Accelerating from 0 to 112 miles per hour in just 5 seconds and reaching a height of 367 feet is a breathtaking experience, and add to that the vertical drop on the other side and a pop of airtime just before you stop, and it's clear this ride is certainly not for the faint of heart. At the time of writing, this is the 3rd fastest and 3rd tallest operating roller coaster in the world, which is an incredible statistic. It's amazing to ride this coaster and awesome just to watch it, and the sound it makes as it accelerates is unlike anything else you've ever heard. I know several people who actually prefer the drop on this to the spiral drops found on King Dakar and the former Top Thrill Dragster. It's just a bit of a shame that the ride is over so quickly, but thankfully when I visited the park it's usually had a fairly short queue, which means you just go round and ride it again and again and again. It's awesome. Number 2, Batman Gotham City Escape at Parque Warner Madrid. Batman Gotham City Escape is the newest roller coaster to open in Spain, and it's a thoroughly modern masterpiece of a ride. Featuring extreme airtime, an anticipation stall, beyond vertical drop, wave turn, and many more interesting elements, this is unlike any other roller coaster in Spain. It's well themed, well paced, and really packs in the thrills on a relentless ride. I'm sure it will now become the park's signature attraction, and will hopefully bring people back to the park as its first major new ride in a long time. It's got 3 launches, and each one packs a punch. The inversions are fun, and the final inversion in particular gives some sustained hang time that set it apart from other similar rides that have opened this year. You can see my full review on this ride in my last video, but long story short, I was really impressed by this ride, and it's clearly the best ride at the park. It's still not the best roller coaster in Spain though, as that honour belongs to the next coaster on this list. Number 1, Shambhala Expedition al Himalaya at Portaventura. Shambhala is quite simply a wonderful coaster. I personally will always have a soft spot for it, as it was the roller coaster that started my addiction to airtime. And the airtime you experience on this ride is simply sublime. Over the first hill you get amazing sustained floater air that feels wonderful and seems to last forever. Then on every subsequent hill you get the same sensation in different strengths. In my opinion, this is the best hypercoaster B&M have ever made, and I don't make that statement lightly. At nearly 260 feet, the first drop isn't far off from what you get in a Giga coaster, and it certainly delivers on the airtime. The long train and open seating also mean you get a great view and incredible experience no matter where you sit. It also, quite simply, looks stunning with its eye-catching white and cyan painted track and the extensive Tibetan-style theming around the ride. It's changed Portaventura's skyline forever, and the Himalayan theme fits in really nicely to the park. I could ride this coaster all day and have a huge smile on my face the whole time. It really is an amazing ride and undeniably the best roller coaster in Spain. Before we end though, I just want to give a shout out to a couple of rides that nearly made this list and are still worth mentioning. First up, Tarantula at Park de Attractions Madrid. It's a fantastic spinning coaster with a unique layout and well worth riding. At the same park there's TNT Trena de la Mino, which is a great family-themed mine train coaster. It will also be interesting to see if Portaventura's newest Uncharted-themed roller coaster can make this list, as it's set to open later this year, but as such I'm yet to ride it. I also want to mention the worst roller coaster in Spain, Coaster Express at Parque Warner Madrid. Now, this coaster has actually had an extensive bit of retracking in recent years to try an improvement, so it's now gone from being unbearably bad to just bad. It's an improvement, but the layout is still rubbish, even though it no longer quite tries to kill you with its roughness when you ride it. Fingers crossed one day RMC will give it the makeover it needs, or will finally be destroyed and removed from the park to make room for something much better. So that's my list of the top 10 roller coasters in Spain. Do you agree? Let me know in the comments, and if you've enjoyed this video then why not give it a thumbs up and like and share it with anyone you think might be interested. I've been Rollercoaster David, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you again in another video very soon.